Vegas is the entertainment capital of the world, known for its variety of shows. Surviving as an entertainer here is not an easy task. With such a variety of shows, concerts, and sporting events, Vegas performers truly must shine in order to bring in the crowds. Frank Marino, Ms. Las Vegas, has done just that. From receiving 2 Las Vegas Walk of Fame stars to being honored by former Mayor Oscar Goodman with his very own Frank Marino Day, Frank is not only a huge part of Las Vegas history as the longest running headliner, he is also a Las Vegas icon.
So let's talk about where this all began, because you were performing before you ever got to Vegas.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, it's a funny story. I'll shorten it for you. I wanted to be a doctor. So while I was going to college, I was working as a junior pharmacist in a pharmacy. And back then, you'd actually count the pills by your hands and everything, and you had to work, you know. But I just kept finding myself in the front. You know, large pharmacies have the makeup counter. And anytime there was a break, I would wander up there, and the sales reps would come in, and they'd show you how to use the different products. And I learned how to do the makeup. And just one Halloween, I decided my favorite singer is Diana Ross. Okay. And I said, I'm going to go out as Diana Ross for Halloween. I knew how to use the makeup from being taught, and I did my thing. And day one, I met a manager in the audience, and Michael Jackson was very popular at the time. And they say, we send Michael Jackson out all the time. We have weddings and bar mitzvahs, and people hire lookalikes. You want to try to go out, because Diana Ross and Michael would have the connection back then. They were the best friends. And would you like to try this? And I was like, okay. And it was like $150 an hour.
Wow.
45 years ago, let's say that was, right?
Sure.
And going to college, that was like $1 million to me. So I said yes. And at one point, my parents were like, where's all this money coming from, right? And I told them what I did, and I was okay, because they were so worried. They thought I was maybe dealing drugs or something illegal, right? And they would just imagine being really, oh, my son's a female impersonator, thank goodness, you know?
That's such a New York thing. At least he's not dealing drugs.
Exactly. We would start doing these, and then I realized, well, Frank, first, you're not black, and second, you can't sing.
I was kind of curious about that.
Right? I would look for a white comedian would probably be better. And at the time, it was Phyllis Diller and Joan Rivers were the big female stand-up comedians, and Joan was just very glamorous from The Tonight Show and all that. So I thought, that's a great MC character, you know what I'm saying? So I picked Joan Rivers, and more events came to obviously get me here, but that's initially how it started.
That is absolutely hilarious.
The Joan Rivers character was meant for me because I had such odd experiences. One, I was walking in New York City, and we were going to do Fox 5 News, and Joan Rivers was going to do it also. What are the chances, right? So me and Joan. Then I went on you remember TWA? I went on a TWA flight, and sat down in first class, and you just 2 seats, and I put my arm down. Joan Rivers had the aisle seat. The other one was Disney World. We're in Disneyland, excuse me, in California, and we're on Pirates of the Caribbean, and I hear Joan Rivers, and my ego turns around like, you know, and it was really Joan and Melissa, and my partner Alex then we started hanging out, and Joan, he's trying to get Joan to go on Splash Mountain at the time. I'm like, she ain't getting her hair wet. I don't know what you're thinking, but.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
It was literally meant to be for you.
3 things where we just ended up in each other's presence that it was just so bizarre that I know it was meant to be.
That is absolutely hilarious. And how did you make the leap? Did like Vegas call you up one day and say, come on down?
Yeah, I'm doing Joan Rivers, right? And I'm doing it at the weddings and bar mitzvahs, and I see she's playing in Atlantic City. So we go to see her, me and a friend of mine, and I didn't know, like, you know, maybe you shouldn't bother the celebrities or whatever. And I just knocked on the dressing room door and said, I impersonate you. And she let me come in. So in her dressing room, I met producers of a show at the time called An Evening at La Cage.
Okay.
That was opening up in Atlantic City. And the MC was a Joan Rivers impersonator.
I love it.
And Joan introduced me to him. I had nothing with me, so I went over to where they were opening. It was Bally's Park Place. With no makeup or anything. As myself, I got on stage, I auditioned. He loved me, and we flew out to Beverly Hills where the main office was. I went out to Beverly Hills and did an audition, and they loved it, and they put me in a show there for a year in Florida, in Lauderhill, Florida, which I loved. And then Pia Zadora and her husband, Michelle Rickless, owned the Riviera at the time. They came in, saw the show, loved it so much that we were the first hotel, the Riviera, first hotel to have 2 shows. Splash was in the main room, like 2,000 seater, and we had the smaller rooms, like 700. And we had a 3-month contract, and that 3-month contract lasted 25 years straight through.
Why do you think you had that longevity?
It was just so much fun, and I saw the people have, and I don't mean me, I'm watching the other cast, you know, they just loved, the whole idea of the show was, you come in as a man, you leave as a man, okay? So it's just a theatrical performance. I wasn't selling a lifestyle, I wasn't selling anything but a form of entertainment that started many years ago. But drag was always so popular because it was fun and funny, and we would do different things. Like, once I came out and did a beautiful thing in drag, they say, okay, a man could look like a woman. But then we needed some comedy. Then we needed some glamour. We just kept building it in the show. It wasn't just, here you go. It wasn't just one note. It had a lot of levels to it. And it was just so much fun. And it was a thing you really couldn't see in your backyard at the time.
Right.
So coming to Vegas, it would be, some people would stop 2-3 times a year because a lot of people return to Vegas. The time, I'm saying there's probably 100 shows on the Strip now. At the time, there's maybe 20.
Right.
So we sold out 3 shows a night, 7, 9, 11 for the first 20 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
Crazy.
That's amazing. And as you were getting into year 15, 16, 17, and beyond, the shows on the Strip were increasing. There were more and more. But you guys managed to just stay successful.
We were the little train that could, you know. We just stayed under that radar, did our thing. For me, you know, lasting so long in Vegas, I just had to navigate my way through, you know, the times and the changing, because the game for me changes every day. Like everybody says, Madonna reinvents herself. I go, just reinventing the situation to make the show work is what the challenge was. Everything we did was balanced. So if you could balance yourself, you could last. I'm up against 20-year-olds now, so it's like really tough.
What you just said speaks volumes about you and your longevity.
Opening price, I remember seeing a picture, $6.95, and you got a prime rib dinner. The
Can we bring that back,
tax
Vegas?
on my show right now is 10 times that. So It's crazy, right?
But it still works, and you're still here,
works,
and you're
but
still
I
successful.
do miss the old days. I miss my $1 buffet. All you could hold down, they used to make the joke. I miss that. I miss being able to walk easily in Vegas from one place to another. You see very few people doing that anymore, like hotel hopping. So you're kind of locked into the hotel to your left and the hotel to your right. Because crossing the street with those, it's very hard. I mean, I was doing it the other day going, how do people do this?
So it was much easier back then. Let's talk about your connection to Riviera. I'm jealous because that's the one property that I wish I could have gone into, and I never made it into
great.
Riviera. There's so much history there. Seen it in the movies, different movies that were filmed there. How did you feel personally when it was shutting down, the implosion was happening?
When they knocked it down, I went with Pia Zadora and we watched it together from an apartment over at the Turnberry place, which is right behind it. So it was like, it was very sad. It broke my heart actually, because this place did it made me who I was. It did everything for me. So I went through so much with that place and saw the remodeling, went through every stage of her growth, you know, and then to see the hotel, I call it her, to see the hotel come down, it was kind of devastating mentally to me, because it's like, it was my whole history got knocked down. I'm thinking I was like 19. I don't remember exactly, but let's say 19. I remember going to the Riviera. I remember not being able to walk through the casino to get to the showroom because you had to be 21 to get on the casino floor. So I remember doing that, and I basically grew up there. I literally, you know, I was a kid, so anything I learned was from people at the hotel, my friends in the show, the producers, the director, all that stuff. But the hotel was so good to me. It was a singly owned hotel by one person, and you just had to ask him for a question. Could I have new carpeting in my dressing room? Could I have whatever I needed? Can I have a comp to this restaurant? Or can I do this or that? And it was always a yes. It was always a yes. They were so good to the entertainers, not only us, but like the showgirls. That, you know, it was just a great time for entertainment in Vegas, and I missed that so much. Now, if I need something done, I got to go to a person that has to go to a person that has to go to a board, and by the time I get it painted, I might as well just paint my own dressing room.
Right.
So.
Right.
Our very special guest star, Las Vegas' own legendary diva, Mr. Frank Marino, as Joan Rivers.
Perfect! What a great audience! Thank you so much for coming. Are you guys ready to celebrate
celebrate 40 years of legendary divas at Legends in Concert.
Time now for your Knife Island Connection trivia question. Frank Marino has performed at which of the following Las Vegas properties? A. Riviera, B. Virgin Hotels Las Vegas, C. Link Las Vegas, D. All of the above.
Or superstar female impersonators. Frank Marino's Divas Las Vegas. Starring Las Vegas Entertainer of the Year, Frank Marino. You'll see superstars like Cher, Britney Spears, Liza Minnelli, Madonna, Celine Dion. These gals are really guys. Frank Marino's Divas Las Vegas.
The answer is D. Frank Marino has performed at all of the properties above, as well as Tropicana and the Orleans.
Now you're doing something similar but different and more
Same
intimate.
but different, yes.
Let's talk about that.
Okay, so we went from Lacage, then the story moves on, and I did a show called Divas with
Right.
Lacage. Then I did Divas for like 15 years at the Link Hotel, the one with the Ferris wheel. And then COVID comes and hits, and everybody's displaced. And I was afraid to come back because I didn't know the market. In 40 years, I kept studying, and the game changed every day.
Right.
All right, so having 2 years off, I didn't know, so I started touring. Came back last year, I did Legends in Concert, which was great, another big show on the Strip. And we did the Tropicana, and we did, the Orleans.
Right.
So we stayed a couple of years with them. And now I just opened Divas back up, and we're at the Virgin Hotel, which I love, love, love. And the reason I love the Virgin Hotel is they really cater to the locals. Like, it's the free parking.
Right.
It's easy to navigate inside. The one thing I love about the Virgin, the food, they got like 20 options for restaurants. So I always go and I, eat them, and the people from the show will be in there, and I carry my wig because it's like gold, because I can lose anything else, but I can't lose that wig. All right? So I have it with me, so then they know it's me if they didn't know what I look like already, and they'll all say how much they enjoyed the show. And I like the room at the Virgin because for the first time I feel like the show is the equal size of the room. We were playing such big rooms that sometimes you get swallowed up. I love the intimacy. It has like 400 or 500 people, but it's great because everybody's right there. You feel it immediately.
In Vegas, 400 to 500 people is small and intimate.
Yes.
You're part of the experience.
It's immersive, yes. And we have everything. We have everything from like Rihanna and Lizzo to people of yesterday like Madonna and Cher. So I try to do the whole gamut so that you could bring your mother and enjoy it, you could bring your children and enjoy it, a little something for everybody.
Now, other than Joan Rivers, and this is pure curiosity, and these guys are probably thinking it as well, have you run into any other celebrities unexpectedly that said, you perform as me?
So all the people that we perform in the show, all the other acts that are in my show, I'd say 90% of them have come in to see the show. Whitney Houston came in, and mostly they're in the booth, but she sat right at my feet. That's why this one stands out. And I was so nervous, right? Even though I was Joan and Whitney was coming out, somebody else doing Whitney, and I was like, okay. Dolly Parton came in. She took her earrings off, just walked on stage and clipped them on my Dolly Parton. How nice is that, right?
That's awesome.
But many, many great experiences like that over the years that Shania Twain came in to see the show because we were right across the street when I was at the Link and she was playing at Caesars. She came in and she's on the phone with Reba McEntire, FaceTiming her going, you're not going to believe this. How cool is that?
And of course, that's got to be amazing for the audience as well.
The audience dies and the performer dies. Because if you're doing Reba, you know you love her, you've studied her, you know everything about her. So when I say Reba just saw you or Cher's coming in to see you, they died.
And that's the
and I love that when the kids get all excited.
I'm so glad to be out here. You would not believe what we got going on backstage. We have Madonna, Cher, Bette Midler, and they're all shaving in the same mirror.